Okay, it's 12 o'clock, and excuse me, sorry. I'm Suri Deitch. I'm Dean of the School of Professional Advancement. We're so excited to have all of you on this informational webinar about the Master of Public Administration today. And I know we may get a couple more people coming on while I'm starting these introductory remarks, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce my colleagues. A couple of whom will be speaking. Dr. Halima Leek-Francis, who you can see there in the beautiful magenta, is the professor, practice, and director of the MPA program. Kenley Fight from our, well, there you go. There are our bios. So myself, Suri, and Halima. We are joined by our colleagues, if you want to go to the next slide, Sheila Gold, who is Executive Director of Recruitment Admissions at SOPA, and Kenley Fight, who, among many other things she does, supports admissions and recruitment work. And then in the background, we have our colleague, Maddie Duncan, who is magically advancing the slides. So first of all, I want to say as a thank you for participating in the webinar today, we're going to waive your application fee. You'll receive a follow-up email, I think actually from Sheila, with a link to a recording of the webinar. And then just a reminder that we've waived your application fee again, to say thanks for participating. I'm going to talk right now about the School of Professional Advancement and give you some background on it, and say a few things about how excited I am to be here, particularly with the MPA. I'll hand things off to Halima, who's going to talk through the structure of the program and curriculum, and then we'll come back to me at the end and I'll say a bit more about SOPA and how we support graduate students. We're also joined by Brittany Yandel, who is the academic advisor for the Masters of Public Administration. So welcome to her. So the School of Professional Advancement is a school at Tulane that is focused on working adults and applied learning. We have bachelor's and master's degrees and undergraduate and graduate certificate programs, a combination of programs that we offer on campus at Tulane in New Orleans and online. Our students are incredibly diverse. They literally go in age from age 17 to 77. And many of our students work while they're in school. And we work very hard ourselves to be supportive of students wherever they are in their lives and to create an academic environment in which you can work hard and succeed and have everything you need from us to be able to do that successfully. Tulane has a long history of offering programs like the MPA, even though it's never had an MPA before, but offering programs that are focused on working adults and people in the field and professional advancement. And SOPA is the current iteration of that long-term commitment. So I'll just say a little bit more about why I'm so excited about the Masters of Public Administration, and then hand things off to Halima. So I've been dean of the school for about 3.5 years, and coming to Tulane and coming to New Orleans was actually kind of surprised that a program like this didn't already exist. And SOPA and our colleagues in the field spent a huge amount of time understanding the landscape locally, regionally, and nationally, looking at peer institutions and their MPA programs, and talking to people in the fields, government, nonprofits, philanthropy, and private sector positions where people support civic work. And we learned a huge amount about what the needs are in the field right now. And we're able to construct a curriculum that is directly responsive to those needs and that for you as a student is going to give you the base of knowledge you need for a successful career in government, in the private sector, in nonprofits, in philanthropy, and in a combination of all of the above. The program is created for students at all stages of their careers, but will have tracks both for experienced professionals and for people who are new to the field or recent undergraduates. It is, like I said, completely up to date in terms of the curriculum and reflecting best practices from the field, and has an incredible faculty of a mix of full-time faculty at Tulane and folks who are active in the field and prominent experts in their areas of expertise. And so they're going to bring you not just the knowledge that you need to be successful, but also their professional networks. And because it's an online program, they are drawn from all over the United States, and that's really exciting. And then that's the final thing, that it is an online program, and so we have the ability to combine work you do collaboratively with your classmates with work you can do by yourself, and create an environment where that's interactive and exciting, but also gives you flexibility to be able to balance being in school with the other demands of your life, which is something that I guess I would say all of us have experience with doing, and we know how important it is. So again, welcome to the webinar. Thanks for being on today. And I'll hand things over to Dr. Halima Leek-Francis.
Thank you, Suri. And I'm very excited to have you all join us today on this webinar, and really looking forward to discussing the MPA with you and answering any questions that you may have also about the program. And as we go along, if you have any questions or anything comes to mind, please feel free to use the chat to let us know any questions that you might have. Suri gave a beautiful overview of the program, just a quick snapshot, but what I'm going to do is go in a little bit more detail about how the program is structured and what you can expect to experience as you're going through this program. So we have here the mission of the program, and really as we came together and shaped this program and the curriculum, we really wanted to focus on making sure that our students were prepared to work and be successful in an ever-changing, dynamic, diverse civic sector, whether that be in careers that are within nonprofits, in the private sector, or within government. So to do that, we pulled together our curriculum, and it's comprised of 12 courses, 36 credit hours that are really focused on contemporary real world context. So you get really exposure to what you will experience in the workplace as you are going through our coursework. Our program really is developed based on contemporary practice innovations, but also those foundational knowledge points that you see within public administration that are essential to the work that you'll be doing. And as Suri mentioned, our faculty is wonderful. We have a wonderful, wonderful faculty who are experts in the field. They have a very strong expertise and experiences that they bring in areas such as technology, nonprofits, and philanthropy, education, all of those areas, many of those areas. And they bring all of that knowledge to you as a student, and you get to benefit from that. So our faculty within the program not only have those academic qualifications, but they have great expertise within the field. Next slide, please. As Suri talked about, the flexibility and accessibility of the program, it's a fully online program. We do have tracks and opportunities for students who are mid and early career professionals. So it really speaks to where you are in your career, and we can work with you to make sure that this, regardless of where you are and the scope of your experiences, that you have a rich a set of coursework and learning experiences that you can take into your workplace, and that will help to move you forward in your careers. You do have the option of doing a concentration in those concentrations, and I'll talk about this a little bit later on. Those concentrations are also offered as standalone graduate certificates. So if you decide that the full MPA is not something that you want to do at this time, you can also take a certificate in the MPA, so, or that is aligned with the MPA. And those certificate areas are K through 12 education leadership, nonprofit and strategic philanthropy, economic development, and environmental management and resilience. Now, if you are working on your degree, you can complete it in 1 year if you go full time, or 2 years if you go part time. So it is a process that you can really be able to move through at a good pace, so that you don't spend too much time focusing on coursework, and you're able to immediately go into your practice area, into the field, and apply the work that you've been doing throughout the program. So we make it completely feasible in that way, and flexible in terms of your degree completion time. Next slide, please. Our core courses are really centered around giving you that foundational knowledge. There's 7 core courses that are in the program, and they include areas such as policy. We also have a technology course, data, ethics, equity and diversity is one of the core courses. And then we also have a capstone that brings all of your coursework together really nicely, that you can apply in your career. So if you're a student who is currently in a job or in a position where your capstone might align, you can certainly choose a capstone project that could apply to that work. If you're a student who is not currently in practice, or a new student to the area, to the field, then you can choose a capstone that really allows you to kind of build that ability to do work in the area of your interest. So the capstone is really career focused. I spoke a little bit earlier about the concentration areas, and here they are listed for you. They are certainly optional, and this is if you want to specialize in a specific area in one of these 4 areas. The nonprofit and strategic philanthropy and K through 12 education leadership will be available fall 2020 with the launch of the program, and economic development and environmental management and resilience will be available later in the program, fall 2021. So those are the concentrations, which are optional. You can take the MPA without the concentrations, and you would have 15 credit hours of elective work to make up those concentration areas. So here's the experiential components of the program, because we really feel that having hands-on experience is a defining factor in you being able to go into the workplace and be successful in the work. So we have some areas that we really wanted to focus on to give you those opportunities to build experience. One is the capstone, as I talked about. Additionally, students who do not have experience in the field, there's a required internship component that's built into the program as well, and we help you in managing and determining your internship placement with that. We also have a required residency that is in New Orleans. We have it scheduled for June 4th through June 6th of 2021. That will be the first residency opportunity. And that gives you the opportunity to come together with your classmates, with faculty, with other experts in the field to hear about the work that's being done. And it also helps you to build your network, because a lot of this work in public administration and civic sector work is around your network. if you have a strong network, then you have the ability not only to obtain positions that are ideal for you, but also to kind of navigate and negotiate different issues, different topics, different projects that you may be working on. So it's really important for you to build a strong network base, and the residency provides that opportunity. Next slide. So looking at what an MPA can do for your career, because a lot of times that is the focus of a student coming to graduate school, and certainly a student looking at reaching for or pursuing an MPA. There's a host of opportunities, and it's a growing field, as you can see here. There's projected growth through the year 2026 and certainly beyond, as we look at a lot of the issues and topics that we see within our communities, within our cities, within our nation, and even globally. So the field is growing. Here are some of the examples of careers that you can have. You can work in local, state, and federal government. You can work in nonprofits. You can be a corporate responsibility manager in a private corporation or business. One thing that we have noticed is that a lot of people who work in the civic sector, they do kind of move from the types of businesses or organizations that they work in. So someone may work in government, they may also work at some point in their career in nonprofits, they may also work at some point in a private organization or business. And this program speaks to that cross-sector movement. And that was something that we really intentionally focused on in developing the coursework and the curriculum throughout the program. So this program positions you very well to be successful in pursuing a lot of these careers that we've listed here, and certainly beyond, and then also positioning you to do well in light of the growth that's anticipated in this field. So I touched earlier on the graduate certificates, and with the graduate certificates, they are also stackable into the MPA. So if you decide to start off with a graduate certificate, you can take the certificate first, and then you can go later and finish the MPA, and the coursework will apply. So if you take one of these certificate areas, that work can count towards the completion of your MPA. So when we say stackable, that's what we mean in terms of the graduate certificates. Our certificates also include, they're made up of 4 courses that offer a concentrated base of knowledge in these specific fields. So if you're going into economic development, the certificates are tailored to focus on the base of knowledge and information that you need to be successful within the field of economic development. So you can use those graduate certificates, whether you take the full MPA or if you want them to take them standalone. So I'll hand it off to Suri as we talk about the student support and success component. And thank you so much for considering our program. And again, if you have any questions, please list them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer those as well. But thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Halima. And I would just say, so Halima and I are 2 examples of folks who've had career trajectories that are along the lines of what Halima was just describing. And both of us are faculty in the program. And so we bring that as well. And so my experience working in nonprofits, working as a consultant to foundations, working in government, and now working in academia is, one of the assets that I and others will have as we teach in this program. So like we said at the beginning, Halima just reviewed the curriculum and the structure of the program. And now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the School of Professional Advancement in general and what we do to support students. And I see Kathy's question, and I'm gonna circle back to it. There are sort of 2 questions in there. So we have a unit focused on student support and success. I introduced Brittany Yandel at the beginning of the webinar. You can see her name on the screen, and there you go. There, you just saw her face for a second. There you go. Okay. Hi, Brittany. We have a whole team of academic advisors who work with you directly to help you pick your courses, to help you navigate the challenges of being in school and whatever else you're doing at the same time. We have a structure as well for awarding credit for prior learning. So it may be, especially if you have a lot of experience in this field, that you can document, for example, that you know enough about government budgeting that you really don't need to take the budget class. And so we can work with you to develop a portfolio that documents that you've met the learning objectives that we have in that particular course. The portfolio will then be evaluated by an expert in the field, and you'll be awarded a grade and credit for it, or not, as the case may be. Although hopefully, if you've gone to the trouble of creating the portfolio, you've worked with us enough to be able to know whether or not your experience is going to be credit worthy. It's a great opportunity for working adults, and like I said, especially for people who come to the program with significant experience. We've already talked about our expert faculty. Halima and others have created a web page for SOPA that lists the faculty in the MPA program. You can see their bios for yourself. We also have a full-time career advisor who works with students throughout the school and is particularly skilled with helping SOPA students translate their prior professional and other experience into in ways that will help them successfully move on in their careers. And then, of course, you know, as we always want to point out, not only do you graduate with the cohort of students who you get to know through the program and the faculty, but you become part of the huge network, the huge worldwide network of Tulane alumni, and have all the rights and privileges that brings. All right, this is a slide that talks a little bit more about the credits for prior learning, and I'll just say here that it can be up to 6 credits. So in a 36 credit program, to get up to 6 is significant. All right. We have a very straightforward admissions application process. I know some of you have already started it. It's an online application. There's some essay prompts that we feel will reflect on your thoughtfulness and your care in expressing why you want to be in this field and why you're interested in earning an MPA. There's an application fee, like I said, that'll be waived for you for having participated in the webinar today. And then government ID and the transcripts. It is possible for us to admit you with unofficial transcripts and then get copies of your official transcripts before you register for class. So I just want to say that. But like I said, it is a very straightforward application process. Here are the application deadlines. The fall application deadline is August 15th. That's the first class that we're admitting for the MPA program, but we expect spots in the program to be filled in advance of that. And actually we'll be doing, you'll receive a message from Halima after this webinar. We're going to be doing our first round of admissions to the MPA program at the end of this month. And so we'll have a few different points at which we're considering applicants until we fill the first cohort. And I'll just say here that there are admission standards for graduate programs at SOPA. It's it's essentially a 3.0 GPA in undergraduate. Although, once in a while we can be flexible on that, and strong essays. And those are the things we consider. But in this case, we're also going to be looking to shape the group of people who kick off this program. And so we will be accepting a cohort of students for the first time who represent different sectors, different kinds of experiences, because we're going to be looking not just for how you can perform in the program, but also how the first cohort interacts. And that's something that's important to us. I see, I'll respond to the tuition waiver program. So the tuition waiver question. So for Tulane employees, there is a tuition waiver for certain graduate programs, and this program is indeed eligible for that. And then I'll hand back to Halima to answer the question about what a typical week will look like.
Right. So Kathy, your question, your initial question, I see another question just came in as well. Typical week. So the courses are structured in modules, and the modules will have work week by week. Many of those modules, you'll have readings, you'll have discussion posts, you'll have video lectures to review. And so some of it is self-paced, being that it's online, but you're also moving along in time with the module. Another piece to that is that the classes meet live via Zoom at least once a month. So along with your module work, which again is paced out over the week, and you'll have readings and activities that go along with the modules that focus on a specific topic, you'll also have those monthly meetings of your courses, of your classes via Zoom.
Great, thanks a lot. And I'll just maybe add to that, you'll have things that are due every week. It could be a product, something that you have to write, or a presentation you have to develop, or it might also be a discussion. Responses to a video that you saw, or an expert from the field who you interviewed live during one of your synchronous class meetings. So because it is online, it's really important for you as a student to have a sense of momentum throughout the entire semester. So it's not like some graduate classes, you have a term paper and you've basically got 15 weeks to produce it, and it's on you to have that. An online course works differently in that, 1 week, this part of it will be due. The next week, another part of it will be due. So there's always a sense of momentum, but also clarity about what exactly it is you're expected to do to perform. All right, I see some other questions. Brittany responded to the question about concentration certificates after you graduate, and that's something you can do. We will have courses available during the summer. That's part of our cycle. And we do, if you are a Tulane graduate, we automatically get your transcripts for you. And I see Brittany answered that question. In terms of the, and here's a very important slide that we hadn't gotten to yet. So this is our tuition rate. We do have some discounts for on tuition. The program is eligible for the Tulane tuition waiver for full-time employees. And many of our students are on financial aid, and work with the Office of Financial Aid at Tulane to figure out aid packages while they're in graduate school. And that's something that we can certainly work with you on to make sure that you're in the financial aid process and have everything you need there. So other questions that have come up, well, I'll say what I think about an ideal candidate, and then, maybe Halima will say something a little bit different. It's important to say we do not ask for test scores as part of our admissions process. there's a lot of research that says that standardized test scores have no bearing on an individual's ability to do graduate coursework in a program like the MPA and in many other programs. And actually more and more schools are going GRE optional. And so that's not something, you're welcome to submit GRE scores. We'll certainly take a look at them, but we don't require them. And, you know, in terms of extracurriculars, you know, I think having relevant experience is a good thing. It shows us that you understand the field and that you're committed to it. And we want to build capacity in this field. And so we want to train professionals who will be committed to being civic leaders in the long term. But we don't have a particular kind of profile or threshold that we're looking at. And again, part of that's going to be about creating the first cohort. And so I'm sure there'll be some people in the field, in the first cohort who have a tremendous amount of experience, like years and years. And then there'll be people who have very little, maybe they've volunteered somewhere, but they're coming straight out of undergraduate. And we want that whole range of experience in the students here. Do you want to add anything or change anything I said?
Yeah. No, what you said is great. I'll just add, and you touched on this a little earlier, but I think it bears repeating, is the thoughtfulness and quality of your essays. This field does require quite a bit of communication just by nature. And being able to demonstrate capacity for that is really important. So to really give thought to your essay and you know, try to submit the best essay that you can in your personal statement for your application. So that weighs heavily on our decision for admissions.
Great, thank you. I see a question from Allison about the elective requirements. So just to go back to that. So if you don't choose to have a concentration, one of the concentrations that Halima listed, you can take elective courses from within the concentrations, from different concentrations. We expect that we'll have elective courses that are not part of the concentrations. And then there'll also be some potential to take courses from elsewhere within Tulane. So whether that's online courses or on-ground courses at another school. So there's flexibility around what courses will satisfy the elective requirements. All right, any other questions? I do see a question from Aspen about what time classes will be held on Zoom. Each semester, you'll have the schedule of the synchronous meetings well in advance. And they'll be in the evenings, and they'll be consistent. And again, you'll know what they are well in advance, so that we give you a lot of opportunity to be able to work them into your schedule. And that's how we do all of our online programs at SOPA, and it generally works pretty well. All right, I see the application process for the certificate programs is the same as for the MPA. So same process, same standards. That's important. And then I see a question about the biggest difference between an MPA and an MBA. I mean, I think there are a lot of differences. Certainly there are people who have MPAs and work in private sector business, and there are people who have MBAs and work in the civic sector. But our program is, you know, you're going to get some background in budgeting in our program, but you're also going to get several other areas that you may or may not get in another kind of graduate program, including the focus on technology and civic sector technology, uses of big data in the civic sector, particularly in government, the focus on equity, diversity, and opportunity in our core is pretty distinctive and highly atypical for other graduate programs, whether it's an MBA or something else. And we're happy to talk to you more, Kathy, about the options that you're considering. So looks like we don't have any more questions for now. I'll just give Sheila an opportunity to say hello.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sheila Gold. I'm the Executive Director of Admissions, and I appreciate you all taking your time out today to be with us. But most importantly, I want to leave you with the message of the fact that we are always open to hearing from prospective students. If you have any questions along the way, we start our relationships with our students in the admissions process. So we like to get to know you and let you know that we are available throughout this entire process to help you fill out the application, help you navigate the process all the way through registering through classes. And then of course, our student success team is available to help you successfully graduate. So we look forward to hearing from you all and welcoming you to the MPA program really soon.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And like Sheila said, we all look forward to following up with you. You see Halima's email address and phone number on the last screen of the slides, but you'll also receive follow-up communications from us. Thanks so much and have a good rest of your day.